What's up and welcome to the third episode of Lambo's Masterclass. Today our first opponent will be Mana. We're still focusing on the same thing as we did in the previous two episodes. So I'm not taking any early game damage. And then later on, just map vision and minimap awareness. We just don't want to take any damage against harassment in general. So that's our plan. What exactly we're gonna play depends on the game. So we're gonna see what Mana wants to do. I don't think Mana is in my group in DreamHack, so I think I can play whatever, but it's not like I'm using my A strategies here on YouTube, since this is accessible for everybody. So yeah, we're gonna play something relatively standard at the very least. We're gonna go for a 16 hatch on this map. Third base is so close, I like going 16 hatch here. You don't need to leave super early with a drone from the main base. Even if I get blocked, I also saw his probe coming, which is nice. He's checking for the hatch, which they do because you can fake getting a third hatch and then instead go for a proxy hatch spine crawler bash. A relatively common build. That is pretty strong if the Protoss just go straight to the main base, because they will have a Stargate started by the time they will realize what's going on if they're just harassing. Since this will look completely standard, basically, from the Protoss point of view. We're gonna pull 3 drones in gas right away. This is so we can get speed a little bit earlier in case of a double adept harassment. The reason I'm queuing the drone like this is because very often the second mineral patch from the front, from where the larva's at, the drones will start or try to mine from the back, basically. And that will lose us some mining time, so that's why I queue the drone like so. We're gonna go for 2 Zerglings now to assure that we're gonna get down the hatchery. We're checking for if he starts warp gate right away. The Cybercore finishes a little bit late. So this is usually a sign of Stargate because they mine more gas for Stargate. They don't mine with 16 drones on the mineral line right away. And he didn't chrono, so we're safe to take this hatchery. If it's a double chrono, I like to go 2 queens at my third base before the hatchery, the second queen. So you have the second queen spawning as the 2 adepts arrive. Very often you can kill an adept if they actually shade in there. So that's nice. But yeah, not the case here. I'm gonna make 1 extra pair of links since he went for a late chrono, so that makes me believe that he might actually try to move out with both adepts. I go for an extra inject here because he's sharking around with the adept, which means I'm a little afraid to just go there and take it. He went for an extra adept, so let's go in for the scout. We'll make the creep tumor with this queen now. It's very early third base from our opponent, and he is going for the Orica. We can check if he... Okay, no, he already walled over here as well. So yeah, this is just going to be a very standard opener from my opponent. We're getting that up for free, that's nice. Second Oracle starts very late, so he delayed that in order to get up a faster Nexus. And we want to get the perfect map vision out at this point. The least defended place for us right now is our natural, but once the queen spawns here, which should be in time, before anything massively happens. Yeah, we should be fine everywhere at this point. We got a Roachborn for safety. And here's the double Orica. If he wants to commit like this, that's fine. There's not much we can do about it, but I'm not sad about losing some a couple of drones for a little bit of HP. It's not bad at all. I'm gonna keep the creep spread alive. We're respreading it right there. Right away. Now we rotate our queens towards the main. One stays here just in case the extra oracle goes towards the side. With scout as well with the zergling. Could still be glaives is the only thing really that could hit right now. Which is the thing that we need to scout for. Okay, very early fort base. Wonder if we can do something about that. Sentry cannon. This seems very greedy. So I will try to punish this actually. I'll finish the +1 melee. And we're gonna go for a timing here, because this to me seems very greedy, since he didn't just start making stalkers right away. He didn't really do anything offensively either. We got Overlord speed, so we can get spread creep. And we'll go Roach Ravager Link, basically, is my plan here. I'll stack injects on this hatchery. And at this point, we're just reinforcing with Zerglings, and we're gonna morph a shit ton of Ravagers at the front. And we're making a creep highway. Let's see if we can punish his greed. Overlord speed is gonna finish now. We need Roach speed to finish as well. Oh, it's even greedier than I thought. He's going Storm as well. Let's chill until the stasis ward comes off cooldown. We can heal a little bit. That's all the storm energy. Make sure to cross it by warpins. Those are safe damage. Always good to go for. That was just too greedy. This type of stuff you have to punish, otherwise the game would become very, very difficult. We scouted the very early 6 gas. So the reason I knew this was greedy was because... So if you take a fast fort base like this, it is completely safe actually to do so if you just go blink stalkers on 4 gas. So you mess blink stalkers, you don't take up at the same time. What our opponent did here was he warped him a couple of sentries, and I saw he had a cannon, so he had a forge early on. Plus, he had 2 extra geysers. That's what I scouted. And that's all I needed to know to realize, okay, my opponent cannot hold an attack like this. I didn't need more information. At this point, I'm not making any extra drones. I'm just going for the attack. Because if he's spending, so what would he need the 6 gas for is obviously extra attack. It's either a Robo Bay or Templar Archives, and even if he doesn't do that, he would be very sentry heavy because stalkers don't require that much gas to build. So if he was just messing stalkers and messing shield batteries, he would just be floating a ton of gas, and in that case we could still kill him. So either way, like you can see our supply is skyrocketing here, and he's still making workers. It's very difficult for him to scout as well. At this point, he knows he already has 76 workers. He already has Storm. Storm is not good against an attack like this, and yeah, he died. Not much he can do. Let's go to the next game. Okay, our next game is against Mana again. This time on a different map. This map is pretty interesting because the bases are all kind of far away from each other, and the map itself is relatively short. So it suits itself for aggressive playstyles. I do think this is a good map for Zerg against Protoss. Not super good, just it's a decent map for any aggressive styles. It's a very difficult map to try to play late game on, but if you're trying to play aggressive like we just did in the last game, or even just not all in, but more macro focused aggression, like any form of baiting armies, where you usually do need to be aggressive in order to play the game. I think this map is suited for that play style. We're expanding forward. It will. The reason I'm usually expanding in a triangle location against Protoss is because it makes the Oracle defense a little bit easier for myself. Very frequently, if the Oracles fly in between, you can actually kill them even. But B, and much more importantly, is you close the map down early on a little bit. Since you expand forward, you get creep much more forward. The fort base is much simpler to take. And the fort base is usually the point of contest for Protoss, especially if they play some form of stalker styles. It can get very annoying. Once he stops with the proper res, I can show you what I mean with an example. Let's say I expand in a line, and then what fort base do I take? There won't be a lot of creep in front of the fort, and it needs to be forward, so it's easily accessible for my opponent to attack. Right, let's say I expand 1, 2, 3, and then I'll take this as a fort base. I might have creep here, but he will push with the stalkers, and it's not going to be an easy fight to take for me whatsoever. He's probably going to trade very favorably for himself. So instead I can take the further back base as my fourth, which enables a much easier defense. Let's say I take this as a third and this as a fourth, there won't be any creep here, but since I take this as a third, this will be my most forward base, there will be creep here, he won't be attacking it, he will choose to attack a different base because of the creep spread that we have. I didn't quite pay attention now to whether or not he started Warp Gate right away. So we'll have to guess a little bit in that department. No second chrono, it's good to know. We go for... We go for no extra Zerglings for now. Now I'm gonna make an extra pair. The extra pair of Zerglings in the main base is just nice if you get blocked, because you have an extra pair of links which helps against the 2 adepts. If there is a double adept, poke. But much more importantly, you don't actually lose any minerals by doing it, because you're saturated to begin with. I don't want to engage this, even though 4 is enough to kill an adept. I would just probably lose 1 pair of links for free without killing anything. Or not 1 pair of links, 1 Zergling for free. Didn't quite see where it went. Okay, that's a Void Ray. I'm trying to spend all my larvae right before the Overlord dies. I actually already made an extra one. It's fantastic. Fantastic news for me. Did not realize I made this one, I'm not gonna lie. So now the early game is gonna get a little bit harder because we won't have vision everywhere, right? One thing you can do is you can patrol Zerglings now. Let's first check his third base timing. We know exactly what we're up against. Okay, 2 adepts coming across. 1 adept at home. Could be glaive still. It's a possibility here. I'm gonna go fast layer. Let's play a different style of opener since he already made more than 2 adepts. I think that is a fine thing to go for. We want to defend our crew spread, but we don't have a spore here, so it's kind of difficult. We go 6 gas and just a lot of roach ravager. And we'll take this base now. It's a lot later than last game, that's because we went for an early lair. So we're not planning on being very link heavy. This is what I mean, this is why I take this base. You can flank with the greens quite nicely. in the early game, get some kills, this is game winning. Like an Oracle gains so much value over time. It happens very frequently that you get kills, and that will completely shift the outcome of the game around. Let's make one round of links. See if he took a greedy third again. We'll make a Spire this game. We're going to Muta. The reason I can drone up like this and go Spire safely is because he made 3 Stargate units. And he made 3 head-ups. There's nothing he can do to offensively to hurt me whatsoever. We can go up to 80 drones, I think. Already. He went 6 gas. So yeah, the earliest form of aggression right now would be like a sentry timing attack or a charge out Archon attack, both of which are not good against straight up roach styles. So we'll go up to the 80 drone count that I was alluding to. Still no forward base, so we gotta watch out a little bit. He's gonna scout the Spire here. We'll make the Mutas anyways. He didn't scout it right away. So usually before I make Mutas, I want to spend my larva with Overlords, but I made a couple too many here. Because whenever you have more than 3 larvae, you will not be producing any naturally with just the hatchery larva production. So that's why in this case we want to make the Overlords first, since I already was safe against everything. Any possible attack. Need the roaches here to kill this adept as well before it shades. And now we're just gonna go on the aggression. He's trying to defend with stalkers. We're gonna go all the way around here. There's a nice amount of dead airspace for the Mutas to access. He didn't pay attention to the Mutas. So we got a lot of damage done here. I'm gonna keep trying to engage her because it's a good fight. And it's GG. Yeah, usually you would, if you go Archon, Tragelot, Immortal, usually you would not want to go Blink against Muta and then instead make some Phoenix. And I think it would be a lot easier, a lot simpler for him. But in general, we had a good early game. He even lost an Orica. We overall lost 2 workers. That's very good for us against a 3 Stargate opener. So just clean early game. Even without the Overlords, just being wary of where your opponent's Stargate units are helps so much. And yeah, I made too many Overlords. I realized at least, and I started cancelling them. It's 1 Overlord too many, or 2. Anyway, let's get into the next game. Okay. It appears our third game will also be against Mana. So we're gonna try to mix it up again. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I can't promise anything from the get-go. Last 2 games, the first one we were very aggressive because we scouted he was greedy. The second game he tried to play it a lot safer and then was behind because of a bad early game. And we could close both games out relatively easily. Let's see how it will go in the next one because yeah. He had 2 games of warm-up now. We'll see how he adjusts his gameplay. You could see a definite adjustment from game 1 to game 2. He basically went for a similar style, Blink into Templar Archives, just a lot safer, a lot later 4th base. Other than that, it stayed pretty similar. He also didn't start Storm right away, which also made it a little bit safer. If he had Storm there with the attack instead of the Archons, it would have been more one-sided even. So it's good that like his adjustments were good. It's just he needs a little bit of a better early game, and that's exactly what we don't want to give him. That's what we're focusing on, not losing any workers, no matter who we're up against. Can be max spec 0 mana, I don't care. My only goal is to not lose a lot of drones. Then the rest of the game becomes a whole lot easier. As you could see in the last game. It doesn't really take that much, it just takes general game knowledge. What can my opponent have? What do I need to be afraid of? And then where can his target units be? You can always question yourself this. It shouldn't be actively, like, you shouldn't actively think, okay, where is his target units? It should be obvious, and once you start focusing on the minimap awareness, it will also become apparent that you track where his target units are and where your queens then need to go in order to respond towards his Oracle threat. Maybe this time he's going to try to double chrono because he didn't do that yet. There's one chrono, there's also warp gate right away. I actually meant to make 4 Zerglings over here right away, but I didn't. So, but yeah, he's not punishing it. The way he could punish this is make a pylon. At my natural location. Would have been difficult for me to clear it in time with 2 Zerglings. That's why usually you make 4, especially if you get blocked. And if there's a chrono, if there's no chrono, you never really need 4 Zerglings, even though I made that in game 1. It was just because I didn't pay attention to if he chronoed right away. That was a mistake from me, more than anything else. Second adapt, popping out, going into the main base. Knowing when exactly the adapt spawn with and without the chrono boost is also helpful. I think it's like 2:35, and then without the chrono boost is like 3:05 basically. With the second chrono it would be 2:55. It depends a little bit on when his... Okay. It depends a little bit on when his Cybercore initially finished. So it can vary. Let's check for proxy pylons. Is he gonna warp it over here? Check with an extra pair of links. There's no robo with this, correct? I get the sport colors now. Nice and early. Here's the 1DT. Let's get ready to maybe surround it. Once it comes to my side of the map, there definitely isn't a proxy pylon, given that I move this a little bit further forward. Oh, you got 3 there actually. I mean, if he actually committed in, it would be very surprising. Because I scouted it literally right away. Let's see if he has a 3rd base yet. If not, we will need to start producing roaches very soon. I'm actually going for the scout because this is freaking me out a little bit. I produced Zerglings now instead of roaches. That was probably not a good call, but the Zerglings will spawn quicker. And I wanted to make sure that I don't randomly die against this attack. Let's triple Archon now at this point. We can kill one of them for sure. If he sticks around here. Okay, that was bad by me. I underestimated his micro potential there. There's a forge. Not sure if that's fake. He shows me that. Could be on purpose that he gives away that information. We gotta watch out a little bit there. We're gonna go Spire again because he won't have any Stargates. We go up to 66 drones. I think should be extremely safe here. He probably took the other third base. If he didn't, we're gonna start producing roaches now. So I'll wait. I'll hold larva for a little bit. Okay, it's blink. And he took that base. So we're gonna go 66 drones. We're gonna get +1 melee actually. Go into the main with our extra queens. Actually, I go +1 missile. I want to make more roaches. I'm not trusting this right now too much. That this is not gonna be a committed attack yet. That's currently what I'm thinking. I'm gonna make 1 Ravager just in case as well. See if we can catch the observer. Oh, he's paying attention. Well done by him. Move this over here. And now we start making mutas. Let's check for saturation. If there's nothing else to do, we can check if the saturation every single base is fine. We go 10 mutas at the very least. He has a 4th base. We should be extremely safe to do so. I think I'm gonna go 12 mutas overall. But now I'll stop producing mutas, otherwise it will just slow down my actual muta attack. Oh, I really don't want to show him the mutas, of course. If it's not necessary. I should have morphed an overseer, to be honest. Make sure he doesn't randomly see them.
Mineral field depleted.
Please don't be here. Observer. We got +1. That's right. GG scrolled again. Yeah, I don't think you... What we did was very good into an attack. I played it very safe. I had a very low worker count. So I was ready for him to attack once he sees the muta. I think he had to play defensively. In this game, I think maybe even without making a Stargate, it would have been fine. Because I stayed super low on worker count, but... it's a rough position. I think this week's episode... Or not this week's. Today's episode basically just shows... If you know the correct counters against Protoss, you really need minimal scouting in order to actually know what's up. And then if you don't lose any workers, which we didn't, we lost 0 workers. We lost a lot of Zerglings with this around here. That was a bad move. Should not have done that. Other than that, if you just don't lose any workers, the game becomes a lot easier. PvZ, especially at high level, is very much so about having a good early game. Once you have the good early game, once you have good reads, everything else will fall into place, and it will become a lot easier. That's all I can say. This is not a good army to attack into Roach Ravager. We went Roach Ravager. I kind of anticipated this. That's why I went +1 missile even. So the +1 missile attack even finishes during the fight. If I thought he was not going to be aggressive, I would have went for +1 melee, because the melee scales a little bit better with the masses of banelings that you make, being the plus run bys as well, being the main contributing factor in terms of damage during these engagements. That scales very well as well. And yeah, that was... I mean, we basically played just 3 games against Mana. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you have any suggestions on possible improvements that I can make, let me know as well. What do you guys want to see? Is there any strategies that you want me to show you? Is there anything else? Yeah, I'm just here lettering away. I'm trying to keep it fresh with different strategies while still remaining focused on the one thing at a time, while also trying to keep the commentary up. I hope you guys like it, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye bye.